Greetings, friends around the world. This is Dr. Bob Thiel for the Bible News Prophecy channel. And I'd like to talk about the sorry state of the 2020 presidential bid. Huh? Kind of early to bring that up. Why did I bring it up? Because I saw this article from Politico this past week, and it just caught my eye. The headline from this article is, the I'm Sorry 2020 Democratic Primary. Now, I don't intend to make this pro-Democrat or pro-Republican, and actually, I don't intend to mention the names of any of the candidates for either party. You may know who they are based on the descriptions I'm going to give, but I've decided there's no point in going into it. What there is that there's really been a change in the United States about the type of people running for office and what they represent, or they claim to represent. For example, there's this one woman who's running for president. She said, I'm running for president of the United States. I'm very excited about it. She says, the future of our country depends on you and millions of others lifting our voices to fight for our American values. So she says she's going to fight for our American values. Well, I grew up in the United States, and I kind of thought I knew what the American values were. So I went, in her particular situation, I went to Wikipedia, because they have her positions on things. Abortion. Since her election to the Senate, blank has maintained a 100% rating by the pro-choice Planned Parenthood Action Fund and a 0% rating by the pro-life National Right to Life Committee. Thought the United States had the right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and apparently she doesn't think the right to life exists for people who have not been born. She was big into cannabis. She's opposed to the death penalty. And here's another headline about this particular candidate. Blank blank emerges as the LGBT favorite for 2020. Okay, and it says that she has this kind of a pro record for all this kind of stuff. And then there's a couple other people running. Again, this is on the Democratic side, and I'll make a comment or two about the Republican likely candidate too, by the way. This particular person, this one is a lady, she regrets, as a conservative-leaning Democratic congresswoman, she backed gun rights and had callous views on immigration. And she apologized for her conservative religious upbringing and for making statements that she said were wrong as far as the LGBTQ community goes. As a matter of fact, she says, in my past I said and believed things that were wrong and worse, that were very hateful to people in the LGBT community and to their loved ones. So she decided she had to apologize since she was announced running for president. Now this other person's name, I don't know if this is a male or female, and since I'm not going to say the name, you won't know who this one is. But this person is also sorry for past and hurtful statements about the LGBTQ community. And then there's talking about a couple other people if they run, they're going to have to apologize for the fact that they stood against crime or things like this. And this is on the Democratic side. So it appears to me that if you're going to run for president of the United States, at least it appears on the Democratic side, you have to at least be in favor of killing babies, or you are unborn babies, or you don't have much of a chance, and you have to be in favor of the LGBTQ agenda, which was not part of the American values. None of those, by the way, were part of American values when I was brought up. As a matter of fact, those things are all illegal. Okay, and that has changed. Now, if you turn your Bibles, you don't have to go there, but in Romans chapter 1, it talks about, verse 18, that the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress truth in unrighteousness. Now, this next statement's got nothing to directly do with the Democratic or Republican primary, but in my state of California, a California congresswoman wants to make it in her committee that they do not use proper pronouns. They don't want you to say he, she, his, or her, and they want you to refer to a singular as a they, which is a violation of the rules of English. And it was unusual, odd, when this particular congresswoman made her comments about this, she accidentally called somebody her, when she's trying to say you shouldn't use those types of expressions. And so I had always thought that these things were okay to speak the truth. And you see here Romans 1 verse 18 about suppressing the truth and righteousness. They don't want you to be able to tell the truth. Matter of fact, in California, it's so bad, and I've mentioned this before, it's so bad that in 2017 they passed a couple of laws. One was they reduced the penalty if you give somebody AIDS knowingly. And the other is if you're a caregiver and there's a guy who wants to be called a girl and you call her, say him, 2 or 3 times, the penalty for using the wrong pronoun, which is, by the way, according to normal English, the right pronoun, is actually greater now in California than the penalty of knowingly giving somebody AIDS. And if you continue through here, we see that in Romans chapter 1, says, verse 22, they profess to be wise and become fools. We go further into verse 26 and 27, which basically condemns parts of the LGBTQ agenda. And then a lot of people say, yes, but we don't do this stuff, but it's okay to approve it. Well, no, in verse 32 it says, those knowing the righteous judgment of God, that those who practice such things are deserving of death, not only those who do them, but also those who approve of those who practice them. And by the way, there are other forms of sexual immorality that are discussed in this chapter, which, by the way, the primary, if not the only Republican candidate that I'm aware of, violates those as well. I don't want to come across the fact that I'm trying to push Republicans over Democrats or whatever. We've never seen something like this in the United States. It's getting more and more like this all the time. And you say, well, the 2016 election was like that. That's true. It ended up kind of that way. But it didn't really start out that way. You had some people on both sides who, well, they wouldn't fully share our version of biblical morality. They at least had, some of them, some respect for biblical morality. But now it looks like that's just tossed out and it's not an option. In the Bible, in the book of Isaiah, there's a warning. I would like to go to Isaiah 3, read verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, those who lead you cause you to err and destroy the way of your paths. Now this is not just a warning about female rulers, and perhaps we will get a female president of the United States. I've long thought that this is likely. But it says, those who lead you cause you to err. They're coming up with rules and changes to morality that the Bible does not accept. And you don't have to go there, but Isaiah 9 verse 16, which doesn't mention women, says, for the leaders of this people cause them to err, and those who are led by them are destroyed. So the Bible is warning that, got to be careful if leaders are not going the right way, whether they're male or female, Republican or Democrat, or whatever other party they might be. I'm going to go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. Now, I quoted 2 Timothy chapter 3 during the last set of presidential elections, and I felt that the description I'm going to read applied to both the Democratic and the Republican candidate. And sadly, I'm afraid that it will be the same in the 2020 election as well. It says, I'm sorry. So I'm start in verse 1 of 2 Timothy chapter 3, New King James Version. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. So we see, we're talking about an end-time prophecy. What's going to happen in this end time? Men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. From such people turn away. Now, at this precise instant, the leading Democratic candidate, according to certain polls I've seen, and the most likely Republican candidate, both actually try to appeal to being right. One of them tries to appeal to a particular segment of the religious community in the United States, and the other tries to talk about things like fairness and equality and all that. I mean, this is kind of like a form of godliness. I mean, they sound like they're really there to help us. But the fact that, both sides are promoting sexual immorality And one side is promoting abortion more than others, and the other side promotes other things, deceit. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I've seen deceit on both sides. And so this is one of the reasons that I decided to do this short presentation. Politico was talking about the sorry state of the 2020 presidential campaign, and I think we are seeing the sorry state. The fact that if you've been for biblical definitions of marriage, you've been for having babies to be not killed, did you have to apologize for that if you're going to run for president? I do think that's a sorry state of affairs. What's going to fix it? What's going to fix it is not this next election. Whether you vote for Republican, Democrat, or if you're like me, you don't vote at all. We're supposed to pray for our leaders that we may lead a quiet and peaceful life. Jesus said to pray to be counted worthy to escape all things that will come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. That's what we need to be doing, and waiting for the return of Jesus Christ to establish the kingdom of God, because that's going to be the solution, not the sorry state of the likely candidates for the 2020 U.S. presidential election. This is Dr. Bob Thiel for the Bible and His Prophecy channel.